in a world where access should be universal. Sometimes, the color of your skin dictates the quality of your service. Meet Immanuel Manny Jones. For 2 decades, Manny fought tooth and nail to build Sankofa Capital, a beacon of financial empowerment for marginalized communities across the nation. He wasn't just a successful entrepreneur. He was a disruptor, securing landmark investments and opening doors previously locked shut for underserved ventures. But even at the zenith of his career, some doors still prove harder to open than others, especially when those doors led to the very institutions meant to serve everyone. The bank was opulent, hushed. Manny sat patiently on a plush sofa, a sleek leather briefcase on his lap. He checked his watch. It had been 25 minutes. Other customers, mostly non-black, who arrived after him had already been called. He caught the eye of a young black woman, Ashley, also waiting, a look of shared exasperation passing between them. A smartly dressed bank teller, Ms. Jenkins, was at her desk, seemingly busy, avoiding eye contact with Manny. Another, Mr. Davis, was chatting casually with a white couple at his counter. Manny stood and walked the customer service desk, manned by a stern-looking supervisor, Ms. Thompson. "Excuse me, Ms. Thompson." Manny began calmly. "I had an appointment for 10 a.m. with Mr. Peterson, and it's almost 10:30. My name is Immanuel Jones." Ms. Thompson looked up, barely making eye contact, then down at her computer. Jones. "Ah, yes. Mr. Peterson is in a meeting. He'll be with you when he's free. We're running a bit behind this morning." Her tone was flat, dismissive. "I understand," Manny responded, "but I saw him just moments ago ushering Mr. Davies to his office, and I was told he was expecting me specifically for the large investment account opening. This is for Sankofa Capital." Ms. Thompson finally looked at him, a flicker of something unreadable in her eyes. Skepticism? Disbelief? "Sankofa Capital, you say?" A slight, almost imperceptible smirk appeared on her face. "Sir, our accounts are for high net worth individuals and established corporations. Are you sure you have the correct branch? Perhaps a community branch would be more suitable for your needs." Manny's jaw tightened slightly, but he maintained his composure. He had heard this thinly veiled prejudice before. "Ms. Thompson, I assure you, I am in the correct branch, and my credentials, along with Sankofa Capital's financial standing, are more than adequate for Premier Bank's requirements. I simply require the service I was promised." Mr. Davis, the other teller, glanced over, snickering subtly. Ashley looked away, uncomfortable. "Sir, you'll have to wait. There are other clients. We serve clients on a first-come, first-served basis, irrespective of their background." Ms. Thompson picked up a pen, dismissing him. The implied insult hung in the air. Manny took a slow, deep breath. "Is that so?" His voice was low but firm. "Because I've been here for 30 minutes, and several individuals who arrived after me have already been attended to. Are you suggesting my background is the reason for this delay?" Ms. Thompson stiffened, a defensive glare appearing. "Sir, I am simply stating our policy. If you wish to escalate this, you are welcome to speak to branch manager, but he is also engaged at the moment. Perhaps you should try again another day." This wasn't about a delayed appointment. This was about a pattern, a subtle, insidious dismissal that black professionals, regardless of their achievements, face daily. The gatekeepers of the system, often those who benefited from its inherent biases, had mastered the art of making you feel invisible, unqualified, unwelcome. It was a strategy designed to wear you down, to make you question your own worth, to make you simply leave. But Manny Jones hadn't built an empire by walking away. He stood his ground, his gaze unwavering on Ms. Thompson. Ashley, from the waiting area, was now openly watching, a hopeful defiance in her eyes. Just as Ms. Thompson opened her mouth to deliver another dismissal, the main entrance doors swung open. A hush fell over the entire banking hall. Every staff member, including Mr. Davis and Ms. Jenkins, snapped to attention, their smiles suddenly plastered on their faces. Ms. Thompson's face drained of color. A towering, distinguished figure entered, impeccably dressed in a dark suit, his presence commanding. This was Chairman Robert Sterling, the chairman of the board of directors for Premier Bank. He was accompanied by two silent, formidable bodyguards. Chairman Sterling surveyed the room, his eyes scanning the various clients and staff. He seemed to be looking for someone specific. His gaze landed on Ms. Thompson, then drifted to Manny, standing opposite her desk. His brow furrowed slightly. Chairman Sterling's eyes widened infinitesimally as he recognized Manny. A slow, knowing smile began to spread across his face, but it was a smile that held a hint of something dangerous for those who had just dismissed the man standing before him. He ignored the frantic, hushed greetings from the staff, including a now trembling Ms. Thompson, who tried to intercept him. Chairman Sterling walked directly towards Manny, past Ms. Thompson's desk, his footsteps echoing in the suddenly silent hall. He extended a hand, a broad, genuine smile now on his face. "Immanuel Jones, my dear boy, I was told you'd arrived. What a pleasant surprise to see you here, and not in Mr. Peterson's office, as planned. What seems to be the issue?" His voice boomed, filling the quiet space. Manny, surprised but quickly composed, took his hand. "Chairman Sterling." Manny replied with a slight, knowing smile of his own. "It seems there's been a slight misunderstanding regarding my appointment and the level of service one might expect here at Premier Bank." Chairman Sterling's smile tightened. He looked at Ms. Thompson, who looked like she might faint. He then turned his gaze back to Manny, a glint in his eye. "A misunderstanding, you say?" He lowered his voice slightly, but it was still audible across the stunned hall. "Well, let's clear that up immediately. Perhaps, Mr. Jones, you can tell me exactly what kind of service you've been receiving this morning." Manny looked directly at Ms. Thompson, then back to the chairman. His voice was calm, measured. "Chairman Sterling, I arrived for my 10 a.m. appointment with Mr. Peterson regarding a significant investment account for Sankofa Capital. Despite my clear appointment, I was asked to wait for over 30 minutes, during which time multiple clients who arrived after me were promptly assisted. When I inquired about the delay, Ms. Thompson here suggested that perhaps this branch was not suitable for my needs, and implied that a community branch might be more appropriate for my background." Ms. Thompson gasped softly, her face now a ghastly white. Mr. Davis visibly recoiled from his counter. Chairman Sterling's jaw tightened. He looked at Ms. Thompson, his gaze like steel. "Is this true, Ms. Thompson?" His voice was barely a whisper, yet it cut through the silence. Ms. Thompson stammered, "Sir, I was merely clarifying our client tiers. It was a misunderstanding of his intentions." Manny interjected, his voice firm. "My intentions were clearly stated. To open a high-value account that meets Premier Bank's criteria. My credentials and those of Sankofa Capital are easily verifiable." Chairman Sterling turned his attention back to Manny, his expression now one of deep regret and resolve. He then turned back to Ms. Thompson, his voice rising, resonating through the silent bank. "Ms. Thompson, Premier Bank prides itself on universal service, not on veiled discrimination. This behavior is unacceptable, unprofessional, and frankly, appalling." He paused, letting his words hang heavy in the air. "As of this moment, your employment with Premier Bank is terminated." A collective gasp swept through the banking hall. Ms. Thompson stood frozen, tears welling in her eyes, but no one moved to help her. Chairman Sterling then addressed the entire staff, his voice stern. "Let this be a lesson to every single one of you. Premier Bank serves all clients with respect and dignity. Any deviation from that standard will be met with immediate and severe consequences." He then turned to Manny, a genuine smile replacing his stern demeanor. "Mr. Jones, I am personally appalled by this. Please, Mr. Peterson is expecting us in his office immediately. And rest assured, your account will be opened and this service issue will be fully rectified." He gestured towards Mr. Peterson's office, who now stood by his door, looking utterly mortified. As Manny walked with Chairman Sterling, he briefly met Ashley's eyes. She held up her phone, a slight nod of acknowledgement. She had recorded the entire exchange. Within the hour, the clip hit social media. Bank supervisor fired on spot after refusing service to black entrepreneur. The video, shot surreptitiously by Ashley, went viral. It was shared millions of times within hours. Finally, accountability. That chairman is a real one. This is what black people face every single day. But not everyone saw it that way. He's playing the race card. Just another privileged guy making a scene. Where's the proof it was racial? Maybe she was just busy. Premier Bank released a carefully worded statement, acknowledging the incident and reaffirming its commitment to diversity and inclusion. Chairman Sterling's actions were debated on every news channel, every podcast. Some hailed him as a champion, others as an opportunist seeking PR. For Manny, the immediate impact was profound. Sankofa Capital saw an unprecedented surge in new inquiries, investment proposals flooding in. But the exposure also brought new challenges. Aggressive online attacks, hateful messages, even subtle threats disguised as business inquiries. He had brought the hidden battle into the open, and while he had won a small victory in a bank lobby, the larger war for true equity was far from over. The viral moment had ripped a hole in the veil of polite prejudice. But Manny knew the system would find new ways to push back. The fight had just gone national. And some fights, once started, never truly end. The immediate aftermath was a whirlwind. Sankofa Capital saw its social media explode. Messages of solidarity poured in from across the country. New investors, previously inaccessible, reached out, eager to be associated with his courage. But the backlash was equally fierce and more insidious. Anonymous complaints began surfacing against Sankofa Capital's past contracts. Whispers of preferential treatment and unverified performance began to circulate in industry forums. A major corporate partner, citing reputational concerns, suddenly withdrew from a lucrative joint venture, costing Sankofa millions. Then came the official scrutiny. A notice arrived from the Federal Oversight Board, announcing an expedited review of Sankofa Capital's government contracts. It was thinly veiled retaliation. Manny knew this wasn't random. It was a coordinated effort to slow him down, to discredit his legitimate success. They weren't just attacking him anymore. They were attacking the very foundation of his business. His assistant, Maria, a sharp, no-nonsense strategist, saw it clearly. "They're trying to drown you in paperwork, Manny," she'd warned. "Make you spend all your time defending, not building." But Manny was no stranger to a fight. He assembled his legal team, meticulously preparing every document. He refused to be intimidated. Instead, he turned the increased scrutiny into a platform. He gave interviews, not just about the bank incident, but about the systemic hurdles faced by black entrepreneurs and minority-owned businesses. "When I was building Sankofa from scratch," he explained on a national podcast, "I faced constant skepticism about my capabilities, not just my capital. Now that I've succeeded, the questions aren't about how I built it, but who helped me or whether it was fair." He reiterated the stark facts. Black entrepreneurs still receive a disproportionately small percentage of venture capital. Loans are denied at higher rates. And even when successful, their legitimacy is constantly questioned. His calm, factual delivery, fueled by undeniable truth, resonated with millions. But the forces aligned against him were also escalating. A powerful, well-funded National Business Integrity Alliance, ostensibly championing merit-based commerce, began running highly critical op-eds. Their rhetoric was subtle but pointed. They spoke of unwarranted advantages and diversity mandates diluting market efficiency. They never named Manny directly, but the timing, the context, left no doubt who they were targeting. Their message was clear. Speaking out had consequences. One evening, Manny received an anonymous, untraceable message. It contained a single, chilling image, a manipulated photo of him, surrounded by flames, overlaid with the words, "Don't burn the bridge." It was a stark, menacing warning. The fight had moved beyond bank lobbies and social media feeds. It was now a direct assault on his reputation, his business, and his safety. The stakes had never been higher. And Manny knew the next phase of his battle would demand even more from him. He was in their crosshairs, a symbol they desperately wanted to dismantle. But he was also a beacon of hope for countless others. And the world was watching to see if he would stand firm. Manny didn't falter. He met the threats head-on. Increased security for his family, and his office became a grim necessity. He pored over the Federal Oversight Board's review, finding every technicality, every success metric they couldn't dispute. Maria, his loyal assistant, worked tirelessly, anticipating every move the Business Integrity Alliance might make. They tracked the Alliance's public statements, their funding sources, their media appearances. Manny realized fighting them on their terms and their veiled op-eds wouldn't be enough. He needed to expose their game directly. He needed a platform that couldn't be easily manipulated. His phone rang. It was a producer from The Line, a respected national investigative news program. They wanted a tell-all interview. No cuts, no edits, just the raw truth. Manny accepted, but only on his terms. He would control the narrative. The day of the interview, the tension was palpable. Manny sat in the studio. The anonymous threat, the manipulated photo, burned into his mind. He spoke about the bank incident, not as an isolated event, but as a symptom. This isn't about one bad employee, Manny stated calmly, looking directly into the camera. It's about a pervasive system that makes it harder for people like me to succeed and then questions our legitimacy when we do. He laid out the pattern. The disproportionate loan rejections, the lack of venture capital for black founders. Then he dropped the bombshell. He detailed the organized campaign against him, the anonymous threats, the sudden withdrawal of a major client. He exposed the Business Integrity Alliance's thinly veiled attacks on diversity mandates and unwarranted advantages. They claimed to champion merit, Manny concluded, his voice unwavering. But their actions proved they only champion a meritocracy designed exclusively for them. He held up a printout of the anonymous "Don't burn the bridge" threat, his face resolute. This is what happens when you challenge the status quo. This is integrity they defend. The interview exploded across the internet. It wasn't just viral, it was a firestorm. His raw honesty, his calm dismantling of the opposition, resonated deeply. Support for Manny surged to unprecedented levels. But the Business Integrity Alliance responded swiftly, furiously. Their carefully constructed veneer of integrity had been shattered. They issued a scathing public statement, calling Manny's claim slanderous and unsubstantiated. They accused him of reckless defamation and exploiting racial sensitivities for personal gain. And then the letter arrived. Not another anonymous threat. This was official. A legal document. A formal lawsuit. The Business Integrity Alliance was suing Immanuel Jones and Sankofa Capital for hundreds of millions of dollars for defamation. The fight had just moved from the court of public opinion to a real court of law. This wasn't just about a bank anymore. This was about silencing a movement. And Manny knew the battle for justice was about to get far more expensive and far more dangerous. The lawsuit became a crucible. The Business Integrity Alliance, with its vast resources, launched a full-scale legal assault. They tried to bury Manny in motion subpoenas and discovery requests. Their aim was clear: bleed Sankofa Capital dry, financially and emotionally. But Manny had faced bigger giants. He assembled a formidable legal team, led by a renowned civil rights attorney who understood the deeper implications of the case. They meticulously countered every accusation. They unveiled the Alliance's history of targeting progressive initiatives. They exposed the anonymous threats, linking them directly to the pressure tactics used against Manny. The trial became a public spectacle. News cameras flocked to the courthouse. Manny, calm and articulate, testified about the subtle slights, the overt dismissals, the systemic barriers he and countless black entrepreneurs face daily. He spoke not with anger, but with unwavering truth. He transformed the witness stand into another platform for equity. He became the voice for every overlooked founder, every denied loan, every questioned success. After months of intense legal sparring, the verdict came down. The court found in favor of Immanuel Jones and Sankofa Capital. The defamation lawsuit was dismissed with prejudice. The judge's ruling was a stinging rebuke to the Business Integrity Alliance. It highlighted the lack of merit in their claims and, implicitly, exposed their attempt to stifle free speech and accountability. The Alliance's carefully cultivated image of integrity lay in ruins. They retreated, their reputation severely damaged. For many, the victory was more than legal vindication. It was a powerful testament to resilience, It proved that when confronted directly, even the most entrenched systems could be challenged. Sankofa Capital emerged stronger, its mission amplified, its influence solidified. Manny Jones had not only fought for his own business, he had fought for a principle. He had exposed the hidden prejudices that often operate in plain sight. He had forced a national reckoning. His journey, from a dismissed bank customer to a champion of equity, inspired millions. He continued to build, to advocate, to demand. He never stopped reminding the world that his success was hard-won, never given. And while that specific legal battle was over, Manny knew the larger war for true equity, for genuine belonging, was an ongoing struggle. It was a fight waged not just in boardrooms and courtrooms, but in every interaction, every dismissed glance, every unspoken assumption. And Manny Jones, now more than ever, was ready for the next round. Hit that like button. Subscribe for more stories that matter. And let's keep the conversation going.